Welcome to MacroCode. Today we are going to learn about ASP.NET Core login and registration using identity. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing and watching our previous videos. So for today's video, we are going to create a project with login and registration using identity in ASP.NET Core 7.0. So ASP.NET Core Identity is an API that supports login functionality in ASP.NET Core MVC web application. So login information will be saved in an identity, and identity can also be configured to use the SQL Server database. So we are going to use SQL Server database for today's demonstration. So we will use the entity framework to store user details, such as either username, password, and other columns that we will be able to see how we can add them. So in our today's video, we are going to create an ASP.NET Core identity to register users and actually log in and log out. So let's start. So I've launched my Visual Studio 2022. So when you see on this side, we have a create new project. So we'll proceed with create new. Then here, we will search for ASP.NET Core, then web app, model view controller template. So click that, then next. Then for our project, we will choose where we'll want our project to be saved. Then we'll give a name to our project. So we will call it students. Let's call it students. Then click next. So we are going to use the latest framework, that is 7.0, which is current. Then on authentication type, we are going to choose individual accounts. So then leave these configure for HTTPS, then proceed and create. So this will create our project. There we are. So you can see we have our project with the startup file, which is the program.cs for ASP.NET Core 7.0. But for the other version, you will be able to see startup.cs class. Then we have the app settings.json, where we'll be able to configure our connection to SQL Server. Then we have the areas. So we'll be able to do a video about areas in our next series. So keep posted so that you'll be able to see how we do that. So if we just launch these, we are using, let's use IS Express, then launch. So our application should be able to launch. So if you run the application, there we are. You can see we have our project, welcome, and it is called students. So back to our project. So I have my file. So I launched my SQL Server database. So I've already installed it. So we are going to demonstrate today's video using SQL Server. So I'm using SQL Server Management Studio to actually manage my SQL Server. So I've installed SQL Server Express Edition. So you can see. So we can create a database. Let's call it students. Same way we have done with our. So this is our database and it has no tables. So you can see it is empty. So I have my config file. So this is a file. Let me just allow me to copy this, then I will explain. So if we are going to replace it with this one, so we just replace it. So if you come to this, so I'll just do this. Let me enable this. I'll do away with these alerts. So if you just come to a default connection, so you can see the server name is the address of my machine. So this is the machine and this is the instance of SQL Server. Then my database, I'm going to use students, the database that we've just created. Let's confirm the name is students. Then trusted SSL trusted connection is set it to true. Then allow multiple active results, true. Then trust server certificate, which to be true. So we have actually connected these to our database. And remember, when you come to program.cs, so this is the connection. Actually, this is the connection to our database. You can see we are using a default connection. This name, you can actually change it to something else as long as you reference it on this side. So we are going to use SQL Server. So we have done a connection to our database. So we are going to configure our program.cs class by adding some codes. So from here you can see this is our connection, add application DB context. We are using SQL Server. You can see here. So let me just do this. So you can see we are using SQL Server, and it is actually using that connection. Then down here you can see we are actually allowing authorization, so we can actually add. We want to enable authentication for our web application, so we will actually add app.use authentication. So you can see we have it there. So do that. Then after you have done that, we need to create. We have already an application DB context. So to handle our database structure and queries using Entity Framework Core, we actually need to create a DB context class. So this is the DB context class that our application has already created for us. So this will handle the handshake. It will actually handle the handshake between the database and our application. So to use the ASP.NET Core identity and create its default database schema, we need to extend the identity class, this one. So to actually see this in action, we can actually proceed. So let me just add a certain, so we can do this override, then you can just tap, then you can do that base dot on mode. I can do that. So we need to register the identity services on our program.cs. So if we come here, you'll be able to see that we have builder.services.identity. Let me confirm if it is there. You can see default identity, then identity user. So what we need to do, we can do this. So on identity user here, we can actually add something else called identity role. So you can just add that, then that is fine. So we need to create a migrations. So if you are new to this channel, we actually done a video about migrations in our previous series, and if you require us to do further videos on it, you can just comment down below. So to do migrations, you'll just come to our tools, then Nugget Package Manager, then Package Manager Console. Then we will add a command called add migration. So this is the command that is used to add migration. Then we can identify. So we can say identity details. So if we press enter, this will create a migration. Sorry, something is wrong somewhere. Yeah. So let's say add identity. So we can do that. Then identity user. You can just leave it as it was. Just remove the role. We can just have it as default. Yeah, so the error is gone. So we can just now tap. So it has succeeded. So it will create a folder. So what this will do, it will create a folder and classes based on entity framework core. So if you come here, you'll be able to see that we have a folder called migrations, and it has created a schema for the default ASP.NET Core schemas. So the migrations contains a table builder based on ASP.NET Core identity. Now we need to create the actual tables. For example, so you can see this is the table builders. So, but now when you come to our database, we still don't have any tables. So if we click here, we don't have any tables. So what we need to do is we need to finish and apply this to our database. So to do that, we'll do something called update our database. So we need to actually create the actual tables by running just a single line of code. So still down here, you can do update database, and this will update the database. So it will run, you can see the commands. It is done. So if you come here and refresh now on our tables, you will be able to see we have the tables. This is the default ASP.NET Core identity tables. So you'll be able to see them here. So you have these ASP.NET users tables. You can see it is actually a long table with details, but we don't have any customized fields. So these are the default fields. So we'll be able to see how we can extend this table with our own fields. So we have done the migrations. So what we need to do is we need to create a view and the view models to actually do the registration. So if we come to our ASP.NET Core identity, I want us to do the scaffolding. So if you come here, then you say new scaffolded item. We need to add, so we'll come to our areas. We need to do something called scaffolding. But before we do that, let's confirm our NuGet packages. So we have the ASP.NET Core Identity framework. We have the identity UI. So what we need, it also have this SQL server and tools. So what we need to do is the design. So let's add design. So we'll come here, then we add another NuGet called Microsoft. Just type in Microsoft design. There it is. So we'll add this. So we'll also add another one here called Visual Studio Web. We can also add this. So that is adding. You can also confirm on this other end whether your NuGet has been added. So we accept the license terms. So you can confirm that we have the nuggets here. You can see this is the one, and we have it here. So we want to add now we want to scaffold. So we'll come here, then add new scaffold item, scaffold new items. So what we'll do, we'll come to our project, then add new scaffold items, then choose identity, then add, then it will start scaffolding. So there you are. So identity will give you some layout pages. So you can actually choose the kind of pages that you will want. So you'll want a login page, you will want a register page, reset password, logout page, forgot password, access denied. Two-factor authentication, we'll want register confirmation, reset password, forgot password. Let's look for another one. You can even have confirm email. So I think that is it. So what we'll need to do, we will choose our DB context. So this is the application DB context. So, and that is it. So if we add it, then it will actually generate all these pages with default implementation code. So you can see it's generating. So it's generating the code. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So you can see it has now given us, under our area we have the pages, then it is giving us another section called the account. So if you click on the account, you will be able to see all those pages: the login page, the register page, the reset password with all the code. So these are the pages that it has created. So if we just launch our application again, let's do that. You can see now at the top here, we have the register and the login page. So if we do register, you can see it is giving us a session where we need to register. So we'll do admin. Let me put in the password. Let's confirm the password. Then we click register. You can see it has registered. Then it is giving us this app does not currently have a real email sender registered. So we have not confirmed that we want for it to be sharing emails to us. So we will click here to confirm. Then it will actually give us a message. So what will happen if you come to our application under ASP.NET users and run it? You'll be able to see that we have a user that has been admitted. So we have the account, the email, details, email confirm, it has actually confirmed, it has hashed our password, security stamp, and all these details. So after we have done that, we can actually now log in using our details. So we'll do that. So then we click login. Not sure if I remember password. So we can also register a new user so that we use that email. So test, let me do so that I don't forget. So if we click register, you can see even the validation, the password and confirmation does not match. So let's try. It has done, we confirm. Let's try to log in. Then you can see that. So it has logged us in. So you can see here we actually have hello@test@gmail.com. So if we come to our users and execute, we'll be able to see all the users. So you can see we have the user, the email has been confirmed. So if it is not confirmed, here will be 0. So this is how you have. So we have actually done a complete user registration and we can log out. So if we come to logging in, you'll be able to see we have a forget password. You can put in the email, you can see, and reset. So it will actually send you an email notification with the password, but you need to configure the email. Then we have the resend email notification in case you need to resend it. You do that, then you click resend. It will be able to send, but the email verification must be check. So if we come here and we execute this, you'll be able to see that the account details is still intact. Now on the roles, you can see we don't have any roles yet. User tokens, we don't have any. User logins, if there is any logins that has been administered, that is it. So we have done a complete user registration with our ASP.NET Core identity. So if you come to our application, you'll be able to see that we are actually using all these pages. So what happens in case you need to provide additional details to ASP.NET user and even the login, the registration page? Because if you can see the registration page, it has only 3 fields, assuming you want to provide more data. So what you will do, you will come to our ASP.NET Core application. Then we can, on our models, we can add another model that is inheriting from application user. I mean the identity user. So we can call this application user. So if we add it, so this is our user. Then we want this to actually inherit from identity user. So that is how you do it. Then here now you provide your additional fields. So assuming I want the first name to be there, then I can do middle name, then I can do surname. I can also do what other thing can we do? We can say country. We can also do a city. So these are just examples. So if you do this, what you need to do again is to apply the migrations as we had done. So on our next video, you're going to learn how to extend fields in ASP.NET Core users table so that you're able to register additional fields on our application. See you in our next video. It will have the username and password.